Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about the Baroness from G.I. Joe, American Dream from Marvel Comics, and just all sorts of stuff. But before we get into that, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, but also we love to hear from you guys. We've got an awesome community here, and that's thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. With all that said, let's dive in. So often on my channel, I'll say that the prologue to the current game session is just a recap of the last game session. But today we're doing things kind of backwards. The recap of the last game is actually the epilogue to this one, because this game and the last game took place simultaneously. And by the way, the last video I uploaded was officially the longest video we have uploaded to date. And to be frank, I know that that is not everybody's cup of tea. So if you didn't watch that one, don't worry. I'll be doing a recap of that one at the end of this video. The main plot of this one is, of course, the fight between Baroness and American Dream, which went about how you'd expect, probably, but it did have some twists and turns. So, what then is the prologue? Well, that is all about Earth H. And while I'm talking about Earth H, I wanted to clear some things up and dissuade some concerns that people had shared in the comments section recently. First and foremost, Earth H is not going to replace Earth K. 99% of my games have taken place on Earth K. And as of me recording this, I have no intentions of changing that anytime soon. So, no, Earth H is not Earth K's replacement. As for why I created Earth H, there isn't just one reason. But one of the reasons is that I had been getting a lot of questions and comments from listeners who are used to certain characters seeming a certain way. And there was a lot of confusion about why Earth K is like it is. We started playing the Earth K games all the way back in 1985. I walked into an Ohio State University bookstore in Columbus, and they had just put out the first edition DC Heroes box set on the shelf. And one of the many things that attracted me to that was that on the side of this blue box, there were bold yellow letters that said, "Be part of the legend." I suppose that those words are open to interpretation, but me and my friends all thought that that meant that we, the players, were going to enter the comic book world. And not only that, but that we were going to matter. Unlike an actual comic book or a movie or a TV show, we would exist in this world and we were going to make a difference. All these years later, that premise, which was so appealing for us, seems to really bother a lot of listeners who are, of course, very used to actual comic books, movies, and TV shows where me and my friends do not exist and we do not have any impact on those stories. So, in that vacuum, the famous heroes live their lives, and usually they do not wander off into Elseworlds or what if territory. But of course, on Earth K, that's exactly what we do. So, for those fans that do not like our original creations, they can at least enjoy the fact that Earth H exists and that things there are much closer to the stories that they are already familiar with. Earth H also exists for comparison and contrast with Earth K. So if something bad happens on one world, the variants of those characters on the other world can be aware of that threat and try to deal with it better than their counterparts did. Likewise, if something good happens on one Earth, the characters on the other Earth can look at that event and then choose whether that is something they want to try to do. And such is the case with the presidency. Back around 1995 or 1996, I was at a different bookstore in Columbus where I bought two coffee table books with the covers of every pre crisis Superman story in them. One such story was about President Superman, who to me seemed like he would be the perfect president. And for a hot second, I thought about having Superman run for president on Earth K in 1996. But there was a problem. In order to be the president of the United States, you have to have been born in America. Interestingly enough, John Byrne once told me in person that the whole reason for the Kryptonian birthing matrix in the post crisis continuity was so the post crisis Superman could run for president, because that way he was more or less kind of hatched on American soil. But that is not what we had done. Our Superman was more of a pre crisis Superman who was born on Krypton and then came to Earth as a baby in a rocket. So he would not legally be allowed to run for president. And in our game world, his son, Clark Kent II, had died fighting Doomsday in our version of the death of Superman. So he couldn't be the president either. So I never got to run that game that I wanted to run. Of course, now in the modern day, we have Clark Kent III as our current Superman. And while he was born on Earth, he does not meet the age requirement as he is only in his mid 20s. So he could not run for president either. But on Earth H, things tend to be a bit happier. So their version of Clark Kent the First made it through their version of the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the mid 1980s without dying and without being exposed to gold kryptonite. So when Doomsday attacked Earth H, two Supermen fought him and won. So on Earth H, I finally got to run a game where Clark Kent Jr. ran for president and won, which is cool. But we still wanted to do something along those lines on Earth K because, again, Earth K is the main game world, right? It's where 99% of the games take place. So what we decided to do was use Lara Kent, the daughter of the original Golden Age Superman, who, by the way, he named after his mom from Krypton, right? His biological mother. So the prologue to this one, simply put, is that Lara Kent is giving a speech in Hawaii about the recent fires there when all of a sudden the Baroness hits her with a rocket launcher. And then that, of course, brings us to the main plot of this adventure. American Dream is Shannon Carter, the daughter of Sharon Carter and Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. She is here when the rocket hits Lara. So we rolled initiative, and American Dream was faster. So she throws her shield at the Baroness, hitting her. As the crowd screams and runs, the Baroness drops her rocket launcher and dual wields a couple of Desert Eagle 50s. He fires at American Dream, who does not have her shield at the moment. So American Dream jumps and rolls, succeeding in a dodge attempt. On American Dream's turn, she comes out of the roll, runs to where Baroness is, and throws a punch. But now it's the Baroness who makes her dodge check. Baroness attempts the Cammy move from Street Fighter, where she wraps her thighs around American Dream's neck and then tries to take her down, but her opponent successfully resists. Honestly, this went on for a while. Ultimately, American Dream gets the shield back, though, and Baroness wasn't really able to overcome the shield. So American Dream knocks her out and handcuffs her. Then checks on Lara, who, by the way, American Dream knew was Kryptonian. So, of course, Lara was physically fine, but now the whole world saw that she was not only immune to the damage that a rocket launcher can inflict, but also that she was wearing a Superwoman costume under her normal clothing. So the secret is finally out, and that is a huge deal. This entire time on Earth K, the Kent family has kept the world from knowing who or what they really are, and it has all finally come to an end. So Shannon and Laura take the Baroness into custody, and when she wakes up, they question her. The Baroness had basically retired from her old ways and was pretty content to be the trophy wife of a rich man. Whatever she used to think Cobra could provide her with, her husband took care of these past several years. So she says she does not remember doing it and would actually have nothing to gain by doing it. If anything, she had everything to lose. Laura listens to the heartbeat of the Baroness and is able to tell that the Baroness is actually telling the truth. So the heroes take the Baroness to the Bermuda Triangle, where the original Wonder Woman is now Queen of the Amazons. And Queen Diana uses her lasso of truth on the Baroness, just as we so often saw on the old Linda Carter TV series. The lasso can not only force a person to tell the truth, but it can even get them to remember what happened to them when they were drugged and or hypnotized, which is exactly what happened to the Baroness. With Diana's help, the heroes learn that the person who did this to the Baroness is an old agent of Cobra named Crystal Ball. He was Cobra's master of hypnotism, brainwashing, etc. Laura confides in Diana that she is upset that the whole world now knows that the Kent family is the Superman family. Queen Diana assures Laura that her father would understand completely and reminds her that this wasn't her fault, and that if anything, the fact Cobra was even able to accomplish this demonstrates just how much the world of Earth K could benefit from having a Kent in the Oval Office. And so, Superwoman, American Dream, and several of the Amazons then return to the United States. Baroness is admitted to a hospital in Washington, D.C. until further notice, and the heroes begin the hunt for Cobra. Which brings us to our epilogue, which, like I said, is the recap of that last very, very long game session. So earlier that same day, Duke, Roadblock, Scarlet, and Snake Eyes had discovered that Serpentor was operating under the assumed identity of Paul Latimer and that he too was running for president. Cobra Commander had revived the Joes and sent them after Serpentor. Roadblock terminated Serpentor only for Cobra Commander to reveal himself and then imprison the Joes in an old terror drome in the Florida Everglades, not too far away from the headquarters of the Dreadnoks. So, Flint, Jinx, and Mainframe go to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where Jinx uses sex appeal and fast talk to acquire some ID cards. They then requisition a C-130 and fly to Florida. From there, they take an Army Jeep to the Everglades, where Flint and Jinx use the camouflage skill to sneak up to the terror drone. Some alligators decide Flint would make a good snack, so Flint uses his army boot to give them an attitude adjustment. The Joes then take out some guards at the front gate, but a single gunshot is heard by Televipers, who send 4 Crimson Guards to investigate. The Joes take out the Crimson Guards, then dress in their uniforms. The bodies of the defeated Cobras are left in the swamp as gator chow, as the Joes rescue Duke, Roadblock, Scarlet, and Snake Eyes. As the Joes are flying away to what is left of the old G.I. Joe headquarters out west, they hear over the radio of their stolen Cobra Firebat aircraft what happened earlier with the Baroness and Lara Kent. They also hear some very alarmed Cobra troopers who are fighting Superwoman and the American Dream and warning their fellow Cobras about the situation. And that was it for this one. We enjoyed playing these adventures. We hope that you enjoyed hearing about them. If so, as always, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed because YouTube loves to unsubscribe you and not tell you. And last but not least, leave a comment. Let us know if you've ever played around with the presidency in your role-playing games. If not that, maybe G.I. Joe or the Superman family or Captain America or his family members, I'd be curious to hear about it. And from everybody here at the longest running superhero role-playing game on Earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.